Christmas season upon us, end of year, good timing.
Yeah, Divish and I were actually just speaking before you came on. It's been 8 months
Oh,
since
really?
the last time we spoke,
Time
and
flies.
yeah, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things are changing. A lot of things are happening. A lot of things are growing,
Yeah.
and that's why we're all together here, the Big Fam, with Mr. Mark Binns. Thank you for joining us, sir, as usual.
Yeah, my pleasure. It is always good to chat with you guys and talk business, talk about the future. It's been quite a year, 2022, in capital markets, stock markets, crypto markets, all the above. So yeah, we got lots to talk about today.
Excellent. So happy holidays to you and yours and everybody listening, and we will get started right away. So, Mark, what are your thoughts right now on all of the volatility that's happening in the crypto market and the calls? I remember you saying 8 months ago that you expect a healthy amount of consolidation
Yeah.
as regulations step up. And so, guide me on your adventure, what your thoughts are, and lately in the entire sector.
Yeah, I mean, to start with, it's a bit disappointing, right? To see the failures that have happened and tied to bad actors, different levels of fraud, I guess you would say, and things like that. It's really upsetting to see that, frankly. But it absolutely highlights the need for regulation, right, in this space. And ideally, public companies operating in this space, which gives a whole second level of oversight. It's frankly a cleaning out of a cancer is the way I look at it. This stuff with FTX and Three Arrows Capital and all of these problems, it's like I hate to see it, but once we know it's there, like let's it's better to clean it out, get rid of it, and move the industry towards a safer, regulated market where participants know their investments are safe, their money is safe, and they're operating with companies they can trust. For us, it's been nothing but an affirmation of where we said the market was going to go. So, in 2019, we merged Netcoins with Blockchain Intelligence Group very specifically because we said, the future of crypto, to get mass adoption, to get everybody worldwide using it the same way they invest in stocks or buy GICs or have a bank account, they need to have trust. And to have trust, you're going to have a certain level of regulation and compliance, overarching it all. So, we became the compliance first crypto company. Our two main operating businesses at the time, one was a compliance software company that we all know, Blockchain Intelligence Group, and the other was an exchange where we helped lead the push towards regulation in Canada with the idea to then take that, globally. So, the market is actually moving towards us now, right? The things that have happened have, as I said, again, really highlighted the need for this kind of regulation, compliance, security, just for the good of the industry and the adoption of crypto globally. So, the sooner we can get rid of the bad actors and the people that aren't operating that way, the better. And then we can all move on. So, right, it's sort of like, deal with this. I've been saying lately, it's head down, chin up, right? For us, it's like, yeah, we're in a tough market. But I think we've set ourselves up the right way to do the right things. So that's what's going on out there, in my opinion.
And I also remember you saying, I think it was to me a while back, that when you guys first got together, and kind of the first time the sector kind of went down, your plan was, while everybody's panicking, we're gonna get our stuff down and get our stuff done quietly, so that when it's time, when the market's moving up or whatever the sentiment is at that time,
Yeah.
you're ready to roll. So I just wanted to bring that to attention, that just because it's quiet and all these things are changing in the market doesn't mean that Mark's not over there getting things done.
Oh yeah, we're like the proverbial duck, right? We look calm on the top, we're paddling like hell underwater with our feet.
Yeah, of
It's
course.
it's absolutely like bear markets is when you build companies, right? And bull markets is when people get rewarded. But that's exactly what happened in 2018, 2019. A lot of poorly run, poorly financed, poorly constructed crypto companies all died. And we worked hard on our companies and our products quietly while that market happened. And then the bull run came along, in sort of late 2020 into 2021. And we were there with great companies and great products and got rewarded for it, and now we're in another bear market, particularly tough crypto market right now. But, we've worked harder than ever this year to continue to evolve and grow our businesses. And, we got a lot of really great advancements happened inside the companies that set us up for the next bull run again.
And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, going back to the FTX piece, I think we were really happy to see, some of the releases from Big specifically talking about how, some of the investments that, a lot of users have made are safe, right? I think, one of the biggest challenges out of FTX is just rebuilding some of that trust, in the crypto community. And I think we're really happy to see sort of I guess the communication and transparency from Big, because that's super important, right? When I think we move into the next phase, right, and rebuilding that trust, people are definitely going to look to, companies that are compliant. So, really happy where sort of Big stands, in the mix of all that.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, we were standing there before FTX ever happened, of course, but it's important to remind people that, not all companies are the same. And we are regulated, we are public, we're audited by KPMG, we have all of our client assets 1-to-1, we don't have debt, we don't have any assets loaned. I've talked about it on different calls, probably not with you guys, but I've had lots of people calling, emailing, texting, yelling, like, why aren't you guys invested in, various high risk assets? And, you see things returning 19%. Like, why isn't your treasury sitting at Genesis making 18%? Well, there's a good reason, because we wouldn't have it now. Right. And if things look too good to be true, they often are too good to be true. And I always go back to the asset-backed security market of 2008 or whatever it was, 2008, 2009. And a lot of stuff just didn't make sense. And then, the crumbling started, and we've seen that in crypto. And I'm glad that we, kept our treasury in our own cold storage and kept our money in our own bank account. And, the slow and steady and smart decision-making is going to win, I think, over, chasing unrealistic yield and returns without due diligence or understanding of what you're getting invested in. So, we've always operated that way. And, there was pressure at times for sure to not operate that way. But, we wouldn't even be here probably if we chased all those shiny objects that other companies chased and they got burned. So, yeah, I'm happy with how we've done that.
Perfect. So pivoting a bit throughout the year, I know executives always make goals. They set goals for themselves. How do you feel, considering the market the way it was this year for you? How did you do in obtaining your goals? How do you feel, is there anything you could have done better? Is there anything that, because of the market situation in the last year, do you feel like the goals that you've set for yourself, you've achieved to the level that you wanted to?
There, you're frozen. Oh. Yeah, I think you're there. Yeah, I think we've done very well in a tough market, right? So I think you said it well, right? Considering the market that it is, would we have liked to have seen, revenue growth and more expansion in the businesses? Of course, absolutely. But given the market and the change in the dynamic of what happened throughout 2022, I'm very happy with what we've done. I mean, a lot of companies, as we well know, have outright failed, gone to zero, reverse split stocks, or otherwise cratered in one way or another. But we ran smart, we ran safe. We didn't front run reality, is how I would like to say it. And we did a lot of building, right? So we were building this company for expansion. We did two big things, I would say. Number one, we invested in Terra this year, which gave us a third leg of the portfolio companies, which has been a tremendous investment. I know we'll talk about it a bunch today, and I'm really excited about what they've done and where they're going. And we've added a lot of capabilities, the second big thing, to Blockchain Intelligence Group and Netcoins. Added multiple blockchains and tracking capabilities to Clue, right? We announced two new chains today, just within the last hour, I think, Stacks and Cardano. We're up to 14 blockchains today. That product is better and more competitive than ever through the work this year that Lance Morgan and his team did. And in Netcoins, we added a ton of things this year, everything from the Netcoins Pay credit card to, we went from probably 7 coins to like 35 coins on the platform this year. We went through advancements in regulation in the product, and we built the thing US ready. And we're going to talk about that as well, I'm sure, today. So, a lot of really positive things happened that we set out for ourselves at the start of the year, right? Build and advance the products, diversify the investments for Bigg Digital Assets. So was it all perfect? Of course not. It was a tough market. It was a moving market. But I think overall, we've done well in the year and positioned ourselves well for 2023.
Perfect. And that's actually your on looking forward statement right there. We can just go to the next question. It's perfect.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I feel that we are sitting in a good position is because of some of the decisions you made this year, because of the way the sector is handling itself. One of them was your marketing budget. Can you explain the thought behind? First of all, can you explain what you did for our members with the marketing budget and your thoughts on it? And going forward into the next year, obviously, we're going to talk about let's keep USA and Canada separate for this question.
Yeah.
So marketing in terms of just Canadian side at this moment, since this is what we've been dealing with up until now. Can you shed some light on that?
Yeah. I mean, we watched the market and we watched trading volumes and we watched what was happening and we reacted, I guess, is the shortest way. You can go look at the financial statements. They're all published on CDR, very public. We were probably spending inside of Netcoins in the vicinity of $1 million a month in marketing at the start of the year. And that made sense given the volumes that were happening, the growth in the industry, the treasury we had, which was, it was well used to put it into marketing to grow user base and grow revenues. But as the market turned, we cut that budget back very significantly. There is no point, essentially marketing to people that aren't listening, right? And as various things happen throughout the year, there's times when you're like, listen, you could go ahead and, blow $1 million in 2 days on marketing, but no one would show up and suddenly start trading if they thought crypto was a bad word at the time, right? So we made some smart adjustments. We reduced that budget very dramatically. And we're watching very carefully, metrics that nobody outside of the inner team would have any idea that we're paying attention to, of course. Like, what are the customer acquisition costs? How is it moving? How many people go from, seeing your ad to verified users and making smart decisions. So, the budget was pulled well back to make sure that we kept ourselves in a great treasury position for long-term sustainability. If this downturn goes on for a year, 2 years, we can be healthy and live through it without having to go out and raise more money or get into any sort of, emergency situation. So, we've adapted to the market is the best I could tell you. And that involved pulling well back in marketing. And when the market heats up, we'll pile back into spending the dollars, right?
Awesome. And last question I have for you before Div takes over for Terra Zero. Can you please update us on what is going on with our TSX and NASDAQ uplist? I know from watching many of your interviews and presentations that you just don't feel that the market conditions are conducive to doing that right now. So as a result, is it a matter of a situation of we're ready to go and it's just, let's pull the trigger when it's, like you said, worthwhile doing it? Or is it one of those things that we're kind of still waiting, and when we are able to, we will?
Yeah, I mean, we're not waiting on any external party right now. It's our own decision to say, hey, it doesn't make sense to do uplistings right now. The main reason, if you look at it, anytime you uplist a stock, you're going to have more administrative burden, I guess you would say. You also have to report your financials sooner and faster. If you go on the TSX, for example, the end of year audit, instead of having 4 months, you have 3 months. Which means your auditors have to work faster, putting on more resources and more cost. So it is, all around more expensive to move up to higher exchange and has more administrative burden and more taxing on the team. The reason you do it is essentially for, more eyeballs and more distribution. But when the market is not there, which is what we're currently sitting in, it's more of a bear market. People aren't scouring their Bloomberg terminal for one more company to invest in, and our name shows up, whereas it wouldn't because you're on the TSX. We don't believe it materially matters right now. We have a higher market cap than tons of TSX listed companies, including TSX listed crypto companies right now. So, moving up, I don't think would give us any benefit for us or our shareholders, and it would add costs and administrative tax. So we will, this is why companies delay IPOs all the time, right? If the market's not there, they don't need the money, if they're a good, solid, growing private company, they'll wait till the market's more conducive and then they'll do it. So I think we'll know it when we see it, right? And when it's time and it makes sense for us and our shareholders to take on that step of the uplisting, we'll absolutely do it. And there's nothing particularly standing in our way. We've had good relationships with the TSX, lots of conversations with them. I've talked with law firms in the States that have done multiple, not just technology, but crypto uplistings to the NASDAQ. There's nothing in our way to do that either if we want to do it. But we're going to wait until it makes sense.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. I think that makes a lot of sense in terms of what the cost benefit analysis looks like. So yeah, appreciate that. Wanted to just pivot a little bit and talk about the Metaverse and Terra Zero. Ila and I got a chance to chat with Ryan and Dan, and and every time we connect with them, they get us super excited about all of the different possibilities and potential products that could exist in the Metaverse. Keen to know what your thoughts are on the Metaverse and its evolution, especially in light of a lot of the events that have happened over the past year. Yeah,
it's evolved a lot, and I think it's a great evolution is what I would call it. When I talk to Dan Reitzik, who I would talk to all the time, I was texting with him this morning. I come away excited as well. He lives it, breathes it, he's in it every day. And he has, I said this before, a large list of truly global brands knocking at his door, asking him, what should my metaverse strategy be? How do I get from the world of Web 2.0 to the world of Web 3.0? Brands are going to be intersecting with consumers and their own consumers and buyers in Web 3, right? And in the metaverse, and they need to know how they can be there and not get left behind. There's probably some debate among certain circles about how quickly the metaverse will grow, and whether but I don't think there's any debate whether it will grow. And that aside, we're very close to it and are very confident in the market. And as Dan says, the stock market's down, crypto has had a tough year, frankly, but it hasn't changed anything about Molson Coors' desire to connect with their consumers and sell them product, or Estee Lauder's desire to connect with their customers and sell them product. They don't look at the stock market that way. They're looking at their products and selling to consumers, and how do they find new channels to get in front of them. And the metaverse is a big new channel open to these marketers. And all of these brands are very, very excited about it and its potential, and they're all dipping their toe in. So, Dan is sitting there with one of the few companies that really knows how to build these experiences across, multiple metaverses. And, he's seeing great growth in the industry. There's revenue growth within Terra Zero. There is a significant growth of brands throughout the year that are looking for how to get in front of their customers in Web3.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think, as I look at the next generation and their immersion into sort of digital activities, right? I know from a marketing perspective, just getting some of those folks engaged is, really difficult these days. And I think the metaverse is going to be, a really prime spot to engage some of these folks. Speaking of Dan and Terra Zero, I'm curious to know your thoughts on, how they've progressed over the course of the years, and have they met some of the goals you had perceived when, investing in them?
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to see that team bring in brand names, right? And have revenue growth from brand names. So it was both a revenue growth goal at the start of the year for us with them, and seeing the brands that they're working with. And I already mentioned the names like Molson Coors, Jimmy John's, Estee Lauder, Price Waterhouse Cooper. If you follow their social media, they're over in Dubai. These guys have, and there's a whole whack of brands we can't talk about publicly because they're not disclosed. And I was checking with Dan this morning, like, who's been announced and who's not been announced. They're working with a number of brands that will be announced once they're, launch their experiences, right? They don't want to be front run by their vendors. So those companies get to announce when they launch. But they've absolutely done a great job of getting brand name customers to come work with, this small private technology startup, because it's a niche, but they're a key player in a niche that everybody thinks is going to grow very significantly. And with that comes revenue and expansion. And we always wanted to see them go public. So, we made a significant investment. We are a public company, and we wanted to see them as a private company grow up, because we didn't own the whole thing. So it's not like they were actually public. We own a third of the business, but we want to see them go public. So they announced in Q4 that they signed their LOI to do their reverse takeover to go public, which is very, very typical way of going public for these stage companies. And our investment will be liquid in them once they're a publicly traded company, which, best guess Q1 2023, that'll be complete. And that's a big accomplishment for that team and for us in our investment, because, we're able to get in, and we made a couple of different investments in them in different rounds. But, if you get into a private company, usually the idea is to watch your investment become liquid over time and grow. And based on the valuation that their LOI is signed at, that'll show an appreciation of our investment as well.
Awesome, thank you. I think you pretty much answered my next question. I was gonna ask about Terra going public, so that's really exciting. Yeah,
we're excited. And again, you guys probably get Dan back on the show here, as we call it, in Q1, and let him tell everybody, especially as they're getting close to going public, and you can buy shares directly in them. I think you'll be pretty amazed at how much they've done and accomplished, and all the new stuff they're working on. So you probably do that after Christmas at some point.
Sounds like a plan. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's the Metaverse is just chugging along from what I see, and I'm glad we got in early on that one. So let's pivot again now to blockchain intelligence, and my favorite part of the company.
Yeah.
But we won't tell anyone that. So first of all, do you want to just give us an update on today's news regarding Cardano and the updates?
Yeah. So I mean, we're always adding new blockchains. We're working in the background to add new blockchains to the product, to Clue mainly for tracking. If someone uses, and today we announced Cardano as one of the new blockchains, if they use Cardano in a crime, and authorities use our product, they can't track it through that blockchain unless we support it. So every time we add a blockchain, the product becomes more valuable and more useful and more diversified, I guess you'd say. So, but a huge amount of work goes into adding a blockchain, because they have to have attributions. You have to understand where the wallets exist in the world, because if someone moves coins from one Cardano wallet to another, unless we can tell our customers that wallet they move them to is at Kraken, for example, so they can go talk to Kraken about these funds that have been involved in a crime, there's not value. So the attributions have to be done. So a ton of intelligence and data needs to be collected on blockchains that we're adding to the platform before they can be released. But we're up to 14 blockchains now. And the big thing is that the ERC20 protocols on Ethereum, I can't even keep track of how many. There's something like 200,000 or 250,000 tokens or something that exist on the protocol. We can track all of those. Plus, we've added one of the world's only NFT explorers, which is also built on an ERC protocol. So you can actually track the movement of NFTs. So this year has been a lot about, on the product side, about adding the different blockchains and features so our product becomes more valuable. So yeah, today's news was two more to end the year that have been launched officially. And they're absolutely, working on a bunch more that we're going to see come out in Q1. So, really pleased with what Lance and his team have done there.
Yeah, I seem like it also seems to me that they're coming out more frequently too now, right? Like they're doing it and they're coming out frequently. I'm sure that's part of the strategy as well. Yeah, it's obviously not with our expansion in the future to the States. I'm assuming the more we have, the better. So
the more we have, the better. Exactly. So, and I think you're right. I think it is accelerating, right? Because the team learns and we learn different methods and techniques to collect data faster and to graph blockchains and our graphing engine. And yeah, just maturity of the company, the team, the business lets us move quicker. So yeah, I'm really happy with it too.
Nice. So what are your thoughts on, because we haven't mentioned BitRank yet, what are your thoughts on the progress of both Clue and BitRank in the last year, and did they achieve the goals that you had set out for them in the year?
Yeah, I mean, we've saw growth in the business to start with during a really tough year and a down year. So, much like Netcoins and everything else, when we went into the year, we would have liked to have seen more growth in the business, of course. But that aside, those businesses have both grown. I think the number that was told to me is we're involved in helping recover, directly $7 million worth of crypto that's actually gone through the system and been, recovered and returned. We want to see things like that to continue to grow with Clue. That'll be a big focus for this coming year, right? If we can get involved in more, let's call it high profile recoveries and cases where Clue gets quoted, and we're seeing it more and more, that'll be good for the brand, right? And get the brand name out in front of more buyers just from media. So there's a cycle there of use the product, sell the product to people, have the people use the product, the customers for success, talk about how they use Clue to actually do their job and have a positive outcome, get that in the media, and then have more people buy Clue. So that's really, I'm sort of switching to forward looking, but that's a big part of the plan for this year is build awareness through success of the product and its capabilities with our customers.
Right. So the question to me is, since we're on Clue right now, and I love speaking about Clue. Honestly, I think Clue personally is not even in the evaluation of our stock at this moment. What are your how do I word this? What are your thoughts, just your thoughts, on how do we get Clue to bring up the valuation? How do we get it affecting the evaluation of our stock? Because in my mind, everybody that I speak to, from industry professionals to Joe Blow down the street, Clue itself should be trading us, around $1 and, or, people say PE, whatever's. But what I'm saying is, how do we show even a smidget of the evaluation? How do we add that value through Clue?
Yeah, I don't think there's any magic bullets. I think it is really through highlighting it. So in conversations like this one, like, the 25 a week I have with investors and institutions about what we're doing and where we're going, making sure they understand Clue and how unique it is and the value in it and the future value in it. I mean, the market is mostly pricing in future value. And I think the future value of Clue has gone up over the past, say, 3 months specifically with what's gone on in the US.
How much do you think it's worth now in the market?
I don't know. See, that's the thing is it's worth what someone will buy it. It's a depressed market. I'd never sell it right now. Because, the entire Bigg Digital Assets, you can look at the market cap and it's 65 million Canadian. Do I think that's a fair market cap? No, not at all. But that is what the market says we're worth today. So we would not be selling the company Clue, it'd be less than what I think it's worth. So it's not a time to consider that in my mind, but it is a time to continue to highlight it. So in our conversations, we're talking more and more about Clue, specifically in the last couple of months. We have an IR firm that does our outbound outreach, Hybrid Financial, and they are talking about Clue as like 80% of what they talk about. So when they go out and call brokers and offices across North America, they're leading with the cybersecurity angle, of crypto and Clue and the value of Clue. And I think that is actually resonating really well. And they tell me it is. And, you see that in the stability of our stock, for example, more than a lot of the other companies around us, because it's unique. It's a unique story. It's valuable. The market is moving towards, again, compliance and regulation, which means products like blockchain intelligence groups products are becoming more valuable. Again, we need to see a recovery in the general market before I think we'd be getting fair value for them. But at least I think highlighting it in our conversations, our investor pitches, our presentations, that's the key to getting the value reflected in the stock, is that people will say, oh, that product is amazing. I'm going to buy the stock for that reason alone. And these other things are all great benefits as well, like Terra and Netcoins, but it's pushing that story out to investors. And just to finish off, where the market has gone and what's happened in crypto in the last 2-3 months gives us an even better story to tell. So we're going to tell it more.
Right. PSA on my end, I'm in love with Clue. I hope you don't sell it. And I hope you guys continue to grow it and continue affiliations with it. Honestly, that's the golden egg, aside from all of the other revenue streams that we're well aware of. In my mind, that's a revenue stream that I don't think has minute value to it yet in terms of true value. Clue is the future in my mind, and why move away from that? So that's just my personal
it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. We have zero intention of selling.
And since we're in blockchain intelligence still, I want to pivot a bit to the crypto training course. And on the slideshows, we've got a bunch of Fortune 500 companies, banks, governments, their friends, their cousins and uncles, all of them all together. The only question I have is, are we in a situation where we can call that another revenue stream? And B, can we increase the price of it?
Yeah, I don't want to increase the price, at least not right now, because I want it to be as accessible to as many people as possible. Like individuals inside of organizations, even if the company is not paying for it, where they say, you know what, I can spend $1,000 and add this capability of crypto investigation and learning these tools to my resume and some letters behind my name. It's like someone working in an accounting firm that decides to get another professional designation. The firm may not pay for that designation. If it's too expensive, they might decide, well, I'm not going to do it. Right now, we'd like as many people as possible to do it, to get it known, because when they take the course, they'll often post on LinkedIn, here's my certificate, I finished the course, which gives us free marketing, etc. But the biggest reason is I want people seeing Clue. I want people taking the course, learning how to do investigations, but all the way through what we're teaching them, the products we're showing when we're teaching them how to do investigations is, blockchain intelligence group products. We're showing Clue in investigative techniques. And when they're done, they may go back to their office and say, okay, I've learned all this stuff. I can bring this capability to my firm, but I actually need tools to do it. So I'm going to have to call up blockchain intelligence group and get us a Clue license or 2 or 5 licenses for my team. So I want it accessible. So it gives us the leads and the opportunities to sell them our product, which is monthly recurring, whereas the course is one-off, right? You take the course, you pay it once, you buy Clue, you might pay us for 5 years, 10 years or more. So don't want to increase the price, at least not right now for that reason. But I would like to see the revenue go up from it. And the way to do that is to get more distribution. So we've launched just recently the Mandarin version of the training course. And we're working on Spanish to come soon. I don't know the exact launch date. I have to talk to Lance, but I know it's not far away from completion. And as we add more languages, obviously we open up the course to a broader spectrum of customers, which could significantly increase the actual revenue from the product itself, from the training course. And then again, the real follow-on effect that we really like is that then they will become customers of our actual SaaS-based products.
Now, for the customers using Clue, do they have the ability to ask for things added or changed in the program? Like, are there features or certain features that customers are asking for that could be still added or should be added?
For sure. I mean, we have a direct line. The sales team, because again, it's enterprise sales. It's not hundreds of thousands of individual small consumers, right? It's businesses usually, or at least organizations, and our sales team stays in touch with the customers once they sell, and tries to, frankly, add more features, like sell them more product, right? There's the sell it, and then there's the farm the accounts. But while they're doing that, they're asking for feedback and what can be improved or what they want to see in the product. And that goes back into the development team. So there's a regular cycle of customer use, feedback into product, roadmap back into product, and then more feedback from the customers. So, and part of that is, what blockchains do you guys want to see and need to see in the platform that aren't there? But whatever it is, it's coming from the customer. So absolutely, we're listening and incorporating it into the products as we go.
Amazing. I'm done with your next div.
Yeah, I just have one or two follow-up questions on Clue. One of the things that you've touched on, Mark, in some of your previous presentations is the cost or the barrier to entry. Right? One of the reasons that makes Clue so unique. Has any of the competitive landscape changed over the past year, or does that still hold relative true?
It hasn't changed. I would say that one company has emerged to be has grown in the space more. TRM, you see out there more. The rest of the names are all the same, and they were always there. They just become more prevalent, I think. You still got Chain and Elliptic and TRM and Clue. And CipherTrace, during 2022 sort of left the space because they got bought by MasterCard, which was great to see. In a lot of ways, it proved that instead of building their own product, MasterCard said it's going to be faster and easier to acquire one and use it for our own internal use to track the movement of crypto through our crypto or our credit card rails, essentially. So it sort of proved the fact that it's hard to build one of these companies from scratch right now, because there's billions of attributions across all these blockchains and 5, 6, 7 year leads that we have in the space. So the competitive space still remains very tight. The barriers to entry they're getting higher every month, frankly, as the companies that are in the space get bigger, add more blockchains, add more data, and start becoming and have brands. So nothing's really changed other than, the spaces remain tight. You're seeing TRM more regularly, and I haven't seen any other new names in the space. So same as it was over last year.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And then in terms of some of the training program, has any consideration been given partnering with some formal training institutions to maybe have our piece of the training become part of cyber security certification or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, we talked to a number of, there's different levels, right? There's sort of distributors that'll put your product up for sale and market it to their customers. Then there's people that might want to integrate it into part of a larger program, as you talked about. I mean, universities do that, where they'll say, listen, we're going to have a cybersecurity course, and one of the pieces of it is you're going to, learn how to use these programs and do the CCI. We actually have CCI being purchased by university students, where professors are telling them to take the course. But we continue to look at all of those opportunities. So far, we've found the absolute best way to sell it is direct, as often is the case in these products. But we're open to partnerships and opportunities as they come our way.
Awesome. Sounds good. Cool. So just pivoting to Netcoins, and as excited as Elon is about Clue, I'm excited about Netcoins. So just curious to hear some details on where the process stands with regards to expansion to the US and beyond.
Yeah, great question. So we've been working hard on this, really the last 3 months in particular, about getting ready to launch in the US. And we are launching in the US next week. We have said we're going to launch this year. We're going to launch this year. We're launching to a population that's about twice the size of Canada, across California, Missouri, Virginia, Pennsylvania. And, Fraser Matthews has done a tremendous job with the team, and you're going to see a new look and feel as well. So it's not just going to be in the US. There's going to be, what I would call sort of like our US website. If you haven't seen it yet, netcoins.com, we just actually upgraded the whole thing in the last couple of days in anticipation of launching in the States. And you can see a sort of a brighter, better look for Netcoins, and that's going to be inside the app in the US when we launch, and it's also going to be ported into Canada. So you're going to see the Canadian app upgrade to this new look and feel. But preparing for the US has been a big part of the last part of the year for us, and where the focus is on feature development. So instead of adding a new feature, maybe in the Canadian market, we said, listen, we got to get this up and going in the US. And again, frankly, the collapse of these non-regulated, centralized exchanges operating in different jurisdictions like an FTX in the States just highlights the need for a good, solid product run properly by a public company that's audited, et cetera, in the States. So that's the big plan, the big push. We're going to get out in our 5 states next week, and then in Q1 add as many states on top of that as we can. We actually have a whole bunch more ready to
the list is out.
Ready to go right now, where we're going to go next. But it's a land and expand approach. Let's get live. Let's make sure there's any kinks worked out. Make sure all the flow of funds and coins and cold wallets and hot wallets and custody, there's a lot to it, and it has to be completely built. It's building a whole new company essentially for the States, separate accounting, separate corporations, separate licenses, everything. But obviously we're extremely well positioned to do it because we've done it in Canada, and we can port all of that experience knowledge in the same base app. There is a few extra pieces like US KYC. So onboarding a customer is different in the States, and banking is different in the States. They don't use, they use ACH versus Interac and things. And there's some tools available in the States that aren't available in Canada for doing customer identification and KYC. So we had to make sure all those things got integrated, tested, worked. But yeah, we're sitting here really excited in the middle of December to get live, and then take it from there in Q1.
Yeah, I know we're super excited as well. Just getting into the US market just increases the number of people that we can touch, right?
Yeah.
Hey, are you able to give us any indication of just I know we haven't launched yet, but I know there's been wait lists that have been set up, etc. Like, are you able to give us any indication of what the reception has been, or what you might think it might look like?
Yeah, I mean, the reception is definitely positive, right? But to be fair, we haven't done any marketing yet, right? So, again, in this market, going out and spending a whole bunch of money in the US before we've even arrived or planned to launch didn't make sense. So it's been mostly through our existing network of Netcoins users who have, friends, family, contacts in the US, our investment community for Bigg that's also, interested in Netcoins for that reason, getting them on the wait list. And then expanding from there. So we're not going to publish any numbers, but even if we started at exactly 0, that's okay. That's where we expect to start, get live, and then start marketing. So, I'm happy with where we sit. The wait list is absolutely, we have wait lists in all of the different states that we're launching in that is going to give us a nice boost right out of the gate, but it's going to be getting those people through the program, into Netcoins, onboarded, doing some trades and going, yeah, this is a great option. It works really well. And I know I'm, safe from that side too, and going and bringing in colleagues. Like, we've always seen referrals to be one of the absolute best forms of marketing. So the focus right now is making sure the product is ready to go, and then having those people delighted with the experience in California, for example. And then we have a whole bunch of marketing all set to go in the States. It's launching right away. I think there's some launching next week. But I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. I'm going to wait until we get there, and then we can talk about it and you'll see it. And Fraser can tell you all about it. But we're definitely have marketing programs lined up on the backside of the launch.
Yeah, that's awesome. We love talking to Fraser, by the way. From a marketing perspective, I think, especially in the States with the fall of FTX and some of the other exchanges, there's I think a huge opportunity to market. Netcoins is, safety and compliance first. So
Yeah.
I know you can't let the cat out of the bag, but I'd love to see that showcased right and center, because for me that's for somebody who has a Netcoins account, that's what helps me sleep at night.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So talking about Fraser, I mean, how do you think he's settled in his first year? And obviously, I'm sure U.S. expansion was high on the list of goals you had for him, but curious to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, Fraser is amazing. He's killed it. I couldn't be happier, to be honest. Mitch was a great leader of Netcoins, and he decided to move on and do some of his own things a year ago, or a little over a year ago. So I stepped back into the seat that I originally held, and ran Netcoins, and but the intention was never to stay there. It was, once Mitch was leaving, okay, I'll run it until we can find the right leader, and not the right now leader. And it took us a few months because I wanted to find someone that I really believed in and trusted and knew that he knew what he was doing, that I could really hand the reins over, and as you say, sleep at night. And Fraser has been that guy. So it took us a little bit of time. We found him, got him onboarded, and he's only been here 6 months, which is amazing to me because it feels like he's been here for 3 years. And then we handed him, some big things to accomplish this year. Let's get us live in the US. From basically a standing start. We had plans, we had done investigation, we had started working on it, but the bulk of it fell to Fraser. And he's got it done. The other stuff is that we brought him in the midst of the worst bear market of crypto since 2018. Since he's shown up, it's been sort of down in terms of the broad market, and to manage and navigate that with Netcoins while continuing to add features, build the robustness of the platform. Like I said, we went from 11 or whatever it was coins to 35. Most of those were under Fraser's watch, and expanding the product, moving us on to MasterCard, from Visa, getting ready for the growth in the Netcoins Pay program, building a solid engineering team that allows us to have a product running in more than one country. I could go on and on, but I've been very, very pleased with everything Fraser has done, and I'm really excited to watch him now take this whole product into countries into 2023.
Yeah, I mean, just based on our conversation with Fraser, I think we got a lot of information from him, and I think from our perspective, we think he's a terrific fit for the company. You're talking a little bit about products. Are you able to tell us, what features, if any, to expect on Netcoins, if that's something you're able to share? Are we, or can we expect staking or some other features like that?
Yeah, we're working on staking. So we intend to bring staking to the market. We think it's sort of table stakes. Is that a pun? Going forward, it's really a shame, again, disappointing to see that a lot of people sort of think that staking was a big part of the problem in some of these crypto collapses, but it really wasn't. FTX fell on fraud, not on staking. And maybe there was companies that said they were staking, but they weren't on the back end. I don't know, but staking can all be tracked on chain, and done right. It's very secure and safe. We're talking to the BC Securities Commission about our staking application because they need to approve it for use. We're in the middle of that approval process with them right now, and we fully intend to bring out staking in 2023. I'm going to say Q1, hopefully. I'm not making any commitments to Q1, but we would like to have it out in Q1. But we'll have to see, again, how long the regulators take to get us our license to actually do it, and what is the best use of resources for Netcoins overall, right? Whether it's add something to the states, add 5 more states right now versus focusing on some of the development for staking. There's always a competing roadmap. And of course, we'll make those decisions based on what we see in terms of, revenue potential, growth, what's good for Netcoins overall. But staking is definitely on the roadmap and in the plan. We do have more coins that we will continue to add to the platform. We took a break from adding coins over the last few months here as we worked on the US. But there is a few more coins that people would like to see on the platform. We'll add those. Things that we don't plan to do, at least currently, and they're never out of the running, but like we're not planning to add stock trading, right? So you look at BitBuy in Canada, adding stock trading, nothing wrong with it. Interesting revenue diversification, but it's not on our short-term roadmap. We're really focused right now on essentially crypto products.
Makes sense. You touched a little bit on, Netcoins Pay and our partnership with MasterCard. Wanted to get your thoughts on, how that's looking and, what the potential opportunities there.
Yeah, so I mean, right now, Netcoins Pay is a marketing tool. It's not a revenue generator. It wasn't designed to be out of the gate. It's designed to create stickiness on the platform, right? And people get paid in crypto rewards. They like that because they're crypto people. They're drawn to our platform so they can use the card for crypto rewards. And what we know is it also keeps them coming into Netcoins all the time to check their transactions, to add fiat to their account so they can spend it through their card. But the plan is to turn it into a revenue generating asset. There's two different ways. Number one is we want to make it so you can spend your crypto. So a big part of the plan in the coming year is so you could go into a store, tap to pay with your Netcoins MasterCard. And on the back end, it actually spends your Bitcoin. And the way we make a fee on that, of course, is the Bitcoin gets converted into fiat. That's actually a sell side trade for us. We get the fee on the trade, and then the fiat gets sent to the merchant. So if you're walking into a Tim Hortons, you're not actually sending them Bitcoin. They don't have a clue about Bitcoin or how to accept it. We're sending them fiat, but on the back end, we're actually converting your Bitcoin into fiat and then sending it, and we make a fee on it. So we can start generating revenue from these cards by allowing our customers to spend their crypto. The second way is through, essentially corporate partnerships and rewards partners. There's people that want access to our customer base to say, come to my restaurant, use your Netcoins card, and we're going to give you an extra 10%, or you're going to get more crypto back, like 1.5 times Bitcoin versus 1. And they actually pay for that. It wouldn't be us, and they pay us a program fee. So, these rewards programs you see through credit cards are revenue generators for those cards. So that's another thing that we're starting to look at for next year as well, is how do we then take this user base and generate additional revenue streams from it. So those are two of the plans for the card, and we're excited for the future for that as well. But for now, it's a marketing tool for stickiness on the platform.
Makes total sense. Seems like we're well set up for it.
Yeah.
I think that's all the questions I had on Netcoins.
So Mark, we actually hit the target within an hour, which is good. We actually have 7 minutes to spare, if you can believe it or not.
Yeah, perfect.
I was wondering if we can just ask you a few questions from the Discord group. Obviously, same as last time, yay or nay on the answer. If it's something you don't want to answer, say next, or can't answer for that matter. But they're all pretty kosher from what I've read. So I'll quickly go through it. And as I'm saying that, everybody's just going crazy on the Discord. Okay, so sorry.
I said it's good to be popular. You guys have a great group.
It's not me. Without you, there's no me. So I don't know about popular, but I don't know. Okay, so are there any ideas for any Clue/Netcoin crossovers into the metaverse using the Terra Zero and their pipeline?
I mean, we've talked about it. We actually put up some billboards in the metaverse with Terra Zero. That we had some Netcoins ones and Bigg Digital Asset ones. Our blockchain intelligence group, I think might even include. It's an interesting concept to build a couple of different things. It could be like a metaverse headquarters for Bigg Digital Assets inside of the space. There could be opportunities to even create, we've talked about an exchange. So is there a way to take a Netcoins, the exchange, and make it so you can, walk into the building and actually trade on your account somehow, almost like a OTC or something. But we haven't developed the idea further than that. So we're in discussion with Dan. He's learning a ton by bringing these global brands into the metaverse and what works and what doesn't work. And throughout 2023, the conversation will continue. And we dipped our toe in so far with a bit of advertising. And say honestly, we'll see if it goes further from there. I don't have anything set, but I do think it's interesting, and we have discussed it.
Amazing. Next question. Do you have any plans for Netcoins to add Apple Pay or Google Pay as a mode of payment?
We've talked about it. It's not, I shouldn't say, it's probably on the roadmap. We've definitely talked about it. I don't know about the technical limitations and capabilities of actually doing it. You know, I would love to. Part of it is it's, you know, when you're using Apple Pay and Google Pay, as far as I know, it's always tied to a credit card, and credit cards have challenges with chargebacks. And that's why typically you don't purchase crypto, say on Netcoins, with a credit card directly. You can through our partners like Simplex. There's some partners out there that do it. But then the fees go way up because of the chargeback risk and the chargeback problems that you have with credit cards. So that sort of reality would have to be solved. We'd have to figure out, okay, so how do you take the money in from an Apple Pay, but not end up in this situation where we're getting chargebacks and losing money on it? And usually it's dealt with by higher fees, but we don't want to bring higher fees to our customer for funding trades. We'd ideally have them, you know, doing it the lowest cost way possible, which is usually, you know, wire, Interact money transfer, or bringing it in via crypto is the cheapest way. And then, you know, putting it into a stable coin and trading it as a balance. So it's definitely been bantered around, but we have to see if we can solve some of the real world challenges with it.
Yeah. So all the other questions are pretty vague and similar to this one, so I'm not going to bore you with much more. But I believe that's it. So what I want to do final in conclusion is say thank you so much for all the hard work behind the scenes. Thank you so much for always making yourself available to us. I said this many times. It's very, very tough to find a company as transparent and friendly as you guys are. Everybody's willing to talk. Everybody's willing to help out. And honestly, I'm enjoying the journey. I know, listen, personally for me and many, we're not where we want to be, but that for me, it has nothing to do with the company itself. We have to all understand kind of the sector we're in and the time we're in, and you're only as good as your last battle, as it says, and your weakest chain. And there's a lot of weak chains right now, so that's the issue. And unfortunately, we're all kind of you're all kind of grouped in one package when you shouldn't. But so yeah, I do thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate everything you're doing in the background. Do know that there is a big fan behind you, as usual. And thank you for the past statements and ongoing statements. Looking forward to expansion, uplist down the line, and all the other good things that happen.
Yeah, well, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on. I always appreciate your guys' support and community behind the company. I always say one of our great strengths is the great shareholders we have. And people that understand, you know, the company's not being built for a week or a day or a month. This is a many, you know, years and hopefully decades business that's part of a changing landscape of how the financial framework of the world works. It's a very big thing. And we're one piece of it. And, you know, we're pushing as hard as we can to affect our change and be part of the evolution of the industry. And we can only do it with the support of our backers and our shareholders. So thanks to you guys as well. And, you know, we're looking forward to pushing ahead and having hopefully a really good 2023.
Awesome. Looking forward to next week, and obviously some downtime for everybody. Thank you everybody for viewing and you know, participating, whether you're in our Discord and or in the comments section. And we hope to talk to you again, hopefully within the next 8 months. But if it's 8 months from now, because I know you like consistency, then that's what it'll be. And hopefully there'll be a lot more new updates for then.
Sounds good. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mark.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.